Welcome to this episode of Mainline Connect. I'm Jennifer Lynn Robinson, and my guest today is John Ungar, the Executive Director of Dignity Housing. Welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks for being here. So we like to start off every show talking about, something that could help people with their networking and marketing for their business. And I'm curious, with so many great nonprofits out there, when you go to events or some of your staff go out to events and you have to kind of give people an idea of what Dignity Housing is in a nutshell for, kind of what people dread at the elevator pitch or the 30-second pitch.
Right.
How do you do that in a way that resonates with people in such a short, time frame, in that 30 seconds?
Well, what I tell people is Dignity Housing is a nonprofit organization that provides transitional and permanent supportive housing and services for homeless individuals and families in Philadelphia, a lot of whom are women who are fleeing domestic violence. We also recognize that all of our clients are individuals with unique obstacles to overcome, so when they come in, they get a case manager who works with them to develop a very individualized plan to help them move beyond homelessness. Also, we're the first social services program in the country founded by homeless individuals. I think that makes us kind of unique.
That does make you
Yeah, and to this day, we always make sure that a graduate of our program is represented on the board of directors, because nobody really understands the work we do better than someone who's experienced homelessness and been through our program.
Yeah, that's great. So as far as the elevator pitch, there's kind of different points of view as far as, do you go to events and give the same pitch all the time, or do you vary it based on the event or the audience? I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm relatively new in the position, so I'm finding I vary it just as I hear it myself. I used to just talk about what we do, saying we provide housing and supportive services, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about the individualized plan for each person that were founded by homeless people. So I just think there's a little more to it that this sort of sets us apart and really tells our story better. So I've just been varying it over time,
Yeah, I think that's best, especially, there's a lot of people that attend a networking organization on a regular basis, a weekly or a monthly basis, and I feel sometimes you almost have other people's elevator pitches memorized. They give the same one, and you know what they're going to say, and you almost tune it out.
Right.
So to me, I think it's always a good idea to vary it and kind of keep people's interest.
And I think it keeps us fresh, too. Otherwise, it could start to sound robotic coming from me, and every situation is a different situation, and it's got to flow, it's got to be natural.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. So as far as your career, you've been involved in the nonprofit world for most of it, is that right?
Yep, that's correct, yeah.
And kind of what drew you to that?
Well, I started my career as an attorney, and I'm still a licensed attorney.
Me too.
I know. And I began as a small boutique firm practicing complex commercial litigation. And I just found I was looking for something different. I needed something where I could see physical, tangible results of my work. And I was always drawn to just improvements in the city. Reading about Rendell become mayor, and a lot of good things were happening, and I said I wanted to be a part of something that was making the city better, and I had the luxury of openly networking while I was at the law firm. They were very understanding, and I discovered the field of community development corporations and nonprofit economic development, and really just fell in love with it. It's a chance to improve neighborhoods, and as I said, very tangible results, and I've been doing that or things like that for over 20 years now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I kind of felt like you when I was practicing. It's hard sometimes in the law in a lot of the areas to feel like at the end of the day you've accomplished something tangible. Things go on for a long time and there's discovery and cases drag, and you kind of leave your office at the end of the day thinking, what did I really do?
Right.
In the long term you do things, but it's just hard.
Oh yeah, and it's important. I mean, lawyers serve a purpose, is very valuable, but especially as a young associate too, you're really in the weeds with the nitty-gritty of the stuff. And I think, I saw what the partners would do, and there's some appeal to that, but you have to pay your dues before you get to that level.
Yeah.
And we were handling all contract disputes. Fortunately, all of them were fine. I never felt like I represented anyone I couldn't be proud of, but I wanted something that was a little more meaningful in my life.
Yeah. So when you first left law and you kind of transitioned into nonprofit, did you go get any kind of certifications or degrees outside of what you already had, or you just kind of jumped in?
I just jumped in. I got lucky. I remember I networked. I really was concerned that I know a lot of nonprofits are small and they need people to hit the ground running, and I didn't have training in affordable housing or anything like that, but fortunately the company that hired me, Ogunce Avenue Revitalization Corporation, saw that as an attorney I had transferable skills.
Sure.
And my executive director at the time had come from the banking world, and her number two had come from the real estate world. So between the three of us, we all learned a lot. And I'd been there for a little while and kept asking my director, I said, do you need me to get some kind of training? I didn't want to, but I thought if I had to, I would. And after a couple of years, she said, you have real world experience, you don't need any degrees. So I was really happy not to have to
No, that's great.
Get any more education. Yeah, real world education.
I ask that because I think a lot of times people want to get out of what they're doing,
right,
and they feel they're going to need, you know, a master's or a PhD to transition. And I think your story is a great example of, you know, you don't necessarily have to do that. You had a lot of skills that would transfer, and obviously you learn on the job as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, people can make a transition to something totally different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in the process, as I was networking, you learn a lot talking to people.
Sure.
And I remember I started reading, I think, planning magazines and governing magazines and learning the lingo and understanding what the issues were. So even though I hadn't done the work hands-on, you know, you start to understand what's necessary.
And you focus mainly on housing and economic development. What kind of draws you to that particular niche within the nonprofit world?
I guess, well, that's I ended up there by chance, but,
Okay.
I really enjoy it for a number of reasons. I mean, it really satisfies that need to see the physical results. You know, you can see the improvement in the city. I mean, for instance, the very first project I worked on was we opened up a charter elementary school in West Oak Lane, and that was just a phenomenal project because we took an abandoned supermarket, which was a huge blighting influence in the city, and put it to good use. We provided a free alternative education for families that needed it, and that just felt really good. And over the course of my career doing that kind of work, I've been able to help small businesses improve their storefronts, beautify commercial corridors, you know, rehab vacant homes and sell them to families. Just been able to do a wide variety of things, and I can go around the city and see work I've done and be really proud of it. And also, not just my own work, but you know, my colleagues in this field. You know, because I know who else is doing this work. I know all over the city, oh, they're doing this good work, they're doing this good work, and you see all the positive things happening. And now the city's just, you know, well, I mean, still have problems, but you know, there's a lot of positive.
A lot of improvement.
Yeah, a lot of positive momentum. Yeah, a lot of good folks doing important work.
Yeah. So the position you're in now is executive director at Dignity Housing. You've been there about 6 or 7 months?
About 6 months, a little shy of 6 months, yeah.
So how's it going? What do you think the biggest challenge has been so far?
Well, it's great, but the biggest challenge, as any executive director will tell you, is fundraising. There's always a need for more resources to do more for your clients, and I'll say sustainable fundraising, because you know, you get funds traditionally from grants, from foundations, and they're wonderful, but after you get a grant, you could get a big grant, and it may last 1 year, if you're lucky 2 years, but you're thinking, okay, how do I replace that when it runs out?
Right.
So it's important to go to individuals, also go to corporations, you know, sponsorships, and find other ways to generate revenue. So the real challenge is being able to get sustainable funding to make sure we're taking care of our clients, and just getting the message out there. I mean, one of the things I've realized since I got here is that, you know, Dignity has a very good reputation among people who know it, but not nearly enough people know who we are.
Right.
So I really want to get out there and spread the word, because when I talk to people, you know, and build upon the track record, you know, that came before me, there's a lot to build upon. It's a great story, and people seem pretty compelled by what we do and what we have done.
Yeah, I mean, I would think too that, you know, similar to what you were saying about having someone on the board that's kind of been through it, those are the type of individuals that would be great as far as messaging, you know.
Oh, yeah.
To, you know, bring out to events, or to help talk to, you know, potential giver, you know, people who want to donate and things like that. Hearing those personal stories, and hearing the impact that they can have on people's lives, I think is always, you know, something that's going to stick with people.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the staff person, but the story isn't me. The story are our clients. I mean, I say when I got there, I mean, our clients are facing and overcoming obstacles that, you know, you and I can't even imagine.
Right.
You know, I mean, so to hear what they've done and the determination, like my predecessor used to say, she goes, you know, we can't want it more than they want it, and they take it very seriously, and they've made, you know, wonderful lives for themselves. So, yeah, I'm looking for some opportunities to get out there, and whenever possible, yes, I would like to take, you know, some of our graduates or clients with me, because, you know, they can tell it much better than I can.
Sure. So as far as the mission, I know you mentioned finding the housing. Tell me more about kind of the services you offer.
Sure. Well, so we provide 3 different programs. We have 2 transitional housing programs and 1 permanent supportive housing program.
Okay.
So transitional means the residents can stay with us up to 24 months. And all of this is guided by, you know, federal, you know, guidelines, HUD, and with PHA. One of our transitional programs is for women who are fleeing domestic violence or if facing substance abuse. They're trying to overcome that.
Okay.
The other is for women, and both these are women and their children if they have them, and many of them do have children, where they're just facing economic barriers. We're trying to get them to better employment. And then we have a permanent supportive housing program which accepts men and women, and that's for people who have a mental diagnosis or a physical disability. It could be HIV or something like that. So everyone who comes to us gets assigned a case manager, and the case manager works with them from day one to develop what we call the Life Skills Housing Action Plan.
Okay.
And that focuses on things like employment, budgeting, benefits, housekeeping, just so the person works with them to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to move on with their life and become self-sufficient. So depending on what program they're in, they're either with us for 24 months or they're with us longer, and our goal is to help them find housing and help them get the skills they need, and in some cases the support they need. A lot of them have experienced trauma, so a lot of them are in therapy.
Okay.
And just make sure they continue to have those supports as they move on to the next phase of their life.
Now, you mentioned the 2 transitional housing places and then 1 permanent. Where are they located? They're
all in Northwest Philadelphia.
Okay.
And we don't advertise where they are exactly because we have a lot of people fleeing domestic violence, but they're Northwest Philadelphia, and the transitional housing programs are clustered together, and the permanent housing are scattered site around the neighborhood.
Okay. And then as far as the skills, you mentioned some things that the plan takes care of. Do you also help with things like resume building and job skills and mock interviews and that sort of thing? Or
yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm glad you asked that. One of the things we also have that I forgot to mention was in the basement of one of our programs we have what we call our Dignity Resource Opportunity Center, or Dignity Rocks.
Okay.
And there we have a computer lab. I think it's about 7 computers, and we have a consultant who works with us who provides those kind of skills. We'll work with our clients on their resume and interviewing and job searching, but also we have a lot of kids who live with us as well. So there's also an after-school program there 3 days a week. Our after-school coordinator, the same woman, works with the kids, tutoring them, but also doing some fun activities to them to make sure they don't fall behind in their schooling, and have fun as well.
Yeah, that's great. So what about, other agencies that you potentially collaborate with? Do you have some of those? Like, as you're talking, I was thinking, I know 2 organizations off the top of my head, Career Wardrobe and Men's Fit, that both help with the clothing aspect and some job skills also of helping people get back on their feet. Whether it's those agencies or something else, are there other organizations that you collaborate with for some of the stuff that people need coming in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First, I'm a big believer in partnerships. Just ask my staff. I just think there's so much can come of it. But even before I got there, we were engaged in partnerships. So with regards with the after-school program, we have students from Mastery Charter High School coming and working with the kids. We're looking into partnerships with the Pennsylvania School for the Deaf and Germantown Friends as well to come and partner with the kids.
Okay.
We established a partnership with Career Link up in Northwest Philadelphia, which provides those job searching skills that you had talked about.
Right.
We also work with a clinical social worker firm called Ladipo and Associates, and they provide a lot of the therapy and assessments we need for our clients. And we're always looking for more. I'm looking for a potential partnership for Cradles to Crayons, exploring other things like that. Yeah, a lot of great organizations out there. And we've talked to Career Wardrobe. There's a membership fee that's a little pricey for us right now, but it is, well, to link up formally as a partnership, but there are ways to get people there. There are other groups that have a furniture bank for clients as well, so there are a lot of great resources.
Project Home does a lot of
Project Home does a lot of great stuff too, yeah. And actually, so on the collaboration side, not with the clients as the staff, we participate. There's a group called the Family Service Providers Network, which is comprised of organizations like us that provide services to homeless families. Project Home belongs to that. People's Emergency Center belongs to that. And we all support each other. We've been lobbying together. We sort of follow the issues or the trends going on in our field and make sure we can advocate for what's best for our clients and our organizations. There's a group called Housing Alliance of Pennsylvania. It takes a similar advocacy role. So it's important to stay networked.
Sure. No, definitely.
Work with your peers.
I think whether it's in the for-profit world or the nonprofit world, you always have those kind of naysayers that say, well, if I collaborate with this organization that does something similar to me, they're going to advance and I'm not, or they're going to advance more. And, I think it's such a poor kind of not long picture kind of attitude to have. There's so much that can come of collaborating.
Yeah.
And, resources and networks and connections and everything that you've been talking about, you can only help all of you grow, I think.
Oh, I agree. And I've been really pleased since I've come into this field to see it's a very welcoming environment. I mean, the other organizations were really all there to help each other. And I remember even when I got the position, I had to start and I met with someone from Project Home and they were willing to share some of their donor names and volunteers. Listen, if we can't handle someone, we'll tell them about your information. There's plenty of room for everybody to grow.
Yeah.
There's a huge need, and we'll all do well if we support each other.
So you mentioned, one of the biggest challenges I think for any nonprofit is fundraising. Tell me about some of your specific, challenges and things that you're working on right now as far as fundraising efforts.
Okay. well, traditionally, we always do. We have a gala every year, which has been very successful, and then we do an annual appeal, so that'll come up around the holiday time.
Okay.
Right now, we're working on a particular campaign to raise funds to build a playground at our site. So my predecessor, Beverly Roberts Cruz, had a long long-time dream, I think about 10 years. She really wanted to build a playground on site for our kids, because at any given time, we have about 100 children living in our units.
And no playground.
And no playground.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're all low-income children, and so traditionally, those kids have less access to recreational activities. And there's just been a lot of research of the importance of safe, creative play, not just in fighting obesity, but developing cognitive skills. So we got some support from Fox and Roach Charities, which was very generous, but we still have a long way to go, of course. So we're in the middle of a campaign to raise funds to build a playground. We would build it on site where our transitional housing is. That's actually a gated, secure area, so it's safe. It's just outside their door. We're offering sponsorship opportunities to corporations, starting at $750, going up to the thousands. We also have opportunities for people to purchase bricks from $100 or $200. But honestly, if somebody wants to support it at $10, $20, we'd be very appreciative, because that's how you get these things done, and it would just be such a fabulous resource for our kids and the mothers, so they can know their kids have a safe place to play.
How much do you have to raise in total to make that happen?
We have to raise about $20,000.
Okay, that's not.
It's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think it's a great cause. I'm optimistic that we can make it happen.
I'm sure you can.
Thank you.
So tell me more about the gala that you have. What time of year do you hold that, and tell me more about that event?
Well, we usually hold it in the spring. So the last one we had was the first one I attended, was a gala honoring the retirement of my predecessor, Beverly Roberts Cruz.
Okay.
We had it in Regal Ballroom in Northeast Philadelphia. It was just a traditional gala with a program and speakers and silent auction. It was a beautiful, beautiful event, really well attended, and a lot of people came out to honor her, including former Mayor Wilson Good and former Mayor John Street. So we've got a long history. It's a 28-year-old organization. So we're starting to plan for next spring's gala, and we're going to have it at the same place, and we're going to have it in April again. We have the exact date.
Okay.
And we're going to try and mix it up a little bit, maybe come up with a theme to make it fun. We're going to have a short program. We want people to we really just want to celebrate our donors and thank them for helping us, and not to want to make sure we talk a little bit about the work we're doing and why it's so important, but really, make it a celebratory event. And coming up actually soon on August 25th in Center City at Smoke and Betty's, we're going to have a happy hour sponsored sponsored by Tompkins Vist Bank. So this is not going to be a large fundraiser, like they call them friendraisers. So friendraiser, fundraiser.
Bringing awareness.
Exactly, bringing awareness to the organization, and people will come, we'll have information, and hopefully some more people will learn about us, and should be a great networking opportunity as well.
Do you do a lot of that during the year, as far as smaller kind of awareness events?
We do a little bit. We've done a few before I came, and we're going to look and see whether it makes sense to do more. I'd like to do at least 2 or 3 happy hours networking events. We also do dine outs, like go to a restaurant, and some of the proceeds will benefit us. We've done it with I think Trolley Car Diner in Mount Airy. In the past, they're very supportive of nonprofits. We've done it with Iron Hill Brewery in Chestnut Hill, so I would see going back to those restaurants again.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to fundraise, because some people want to volunteer, but then they have to make the time and they have other obligations. But everybody goes out to dinner.
Everybody goes out to eat,
right? So I mean, if you can go out to dinner and you can help a great cause at the same time, it's a no-brainer.
Another easy one. It's not a lot of money, but Amazon Smile. You can shop on Amazon Smile and designate us as the beneficiary. I mean, everyone shops on Amazon.
Right, everybody.
So it's not a lot of money, but the other thing about that too is they're unrestricted dollars, and people in the nonprofit world understand that's like gold, because when you get a grant, the dollars are restricted for a specific purpose. So it's important to complete that program. But there's the general operations, the things that come up every day that are unexpected, and it's hard to find the dollars to take care of those unexpected items. So when you get unrestricted dollars, it really is a godsend to organizations like us and our peers.
So things like for your housing, I'm assuming you supply the furniture and things that are there for people. And I'm asking because, I know you mentioned Amazon. I know for a lot of the animal rescues around the area, sometimes they'll do Amazon wish lists where people can get on and buy, 3 dog beds or dog treats. Do you guys do anything like that?
We actually have that too, yeah.
Okay.
Well, not so much furniture. We just put it up recently, and we put a list of sort of 2 different categories. Tools to help our property management staff, take care of the properties well, and toys and books and things for our after-school program. And about a week after we updated it, out of the blue, somebody found us and donated some toys to the after-school program, which was a really nice surprise to see a package of toys come into the office.
That's great.
Share with the kids, yeah.
And
we provide furniture, not for all of the tenants. Some of them are able to have furniture vouchers, but particularly for the women who are fleeing domestic violence, because they have to get out. We want to get them settled as quickly as possible. We take care of the utilities, we take care of the furniture. So it's very just sort of solid, sturdy furniture that can handle, a lot of turnover, a lot of transition, but we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get settled in and then focus on other things in their lives.
Yeah, I would imagine some of the people coming to you are leaving with literally the shirt on their back. They're not packing anything, they're just fleeing a situation.
Yeah, they just got to get out, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, and of course you want to make them as comfortable as possible, as soon as possible, because they've been through a lot already. So,
yeah, I mean, and it has horrible impacts on them and their children, so you want to give them a nice, stable environment and supportive services, and I know we do that. I've heard a lot of great testimonials, people feeling very supported and then moving on as a result of working with dignity. We actually just had a case manager leave. She's going to go teach English in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And she sent a very nice note saying she really loved the atmosphere. Said everyone here cares so much about the people, and she could just see the dedication of the staff. And of course, as the executive director, that's really heartening. Not surprising, but heartening to be reaffirmed. That's what we're doing for our clients.
So besides all of this wonderful work you do with Dignity Housing, I noticed I was looking at your LinkedIn profile that you're involved with a lot of other nonprofit causes, and one that one that I wanted to ask you about, I just want to make sure I get the name right, is this Schools for Sustainability, when you serve as their legal advisor. Tell me about that.
Sure. I got in touch with them through networking a few years ago. I was talking to a guy. He says, I think you ought to talk with these young ladies. So there's a woman based in Philadelphia. She's Dominican born, and she decided to form Schools for Sustainability, which essentially is going to ultimately build schools, around the globe, which are sustainable residential high schools, teaching kids about building resource, efficient green energy technology, and energy efficiency, waste management, organic food, and doing this in environments where the communities they're living are under-resourced. So the first school is going to be in the Monte Plata region of Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Where we've actually had the former president has agreed to donate 21 acres of land to us to build the school. And she's been great working with the community and the kids find out what they want. We've already built an aquaponics unit and a water purification system. So hopefully in a few years we'll be able to build the first school. And as soon as I met her, I was just really impressed by her charisma and her passion. And also sustainability is something I'm very passionate about. I said, I just want to be a part of this organization, and I see a really, really bright future for them. So, they occasionally ask me to review contracts, draft contracts, so I helped draft the memorandum of understanding to get the land donated.
Okay.
And when they need me, they call me, and I'm really happy to help them because they're doing wonderful work, and it's a great team of people.
And hopefully when you guys build the first school, you can go visit it.
I absolutely want to go visit, yeah. Every I think twice a year, they have taken trips, working trips, about a week long to go do work on the land. I haven't been down there yet, but I'm really hoping to find some time, even before it's built, to work on a project with them.
Yeah, and again, we were talking earlier about seeing tangible results of things you're working on.
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't get much more tangible than that. Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
great. Yeah. So, I mean, I know, you have a family, and, you're executive director, and that seems like it would be a job that takes a lot of time, and then you do all these other things in your spare time, like the project we talked about. How do you make it all work? How do you kind of do that work-life balance for yourself? What are some pointers maybe that you have?
I don't know that I have good advice. I do make time for my family. I mean, I always come home in a pretty regular hour unless I have a meeting. If I have to bring work home, I'll bring work home with me. And I have a great family, so I of course want to be with them, and we make the time for that. What keeps me sane is I exercise regularly and I try to meditate regularly. So I think doing those two things keeps me balanced. And then just when I'm not working, to just try and be present in the moment and enjoy whatever I'm doing, because otherwise you can get overcome with all the responsibilities. Yeah,
that's so much more tough than you think it's going to be. I mean, just in general, not for, not to single you out, but I think that being in the moment, I think that's something we all have to really work hard at, because there's always that, well, this happened yesterday and this is going to happen tomorrow, and this is my to-do list.
And I'm not saying I succeed all the time. I have to-do lists all the time, but sometimes you just have to put the to-do lists aside, because you can work on them all the time and not take a break, and they're still going to be there.
Right.
So you need to rejuvenate yourself and be there for your family and friends.
And I like that also you said, the exercise and the meditation, it doesn't have to be those two things necessarily, but I think when you have things that are a normal routine that you do every day or almost every day, I think it really helps.
Yeah, whatever rejuvenates
works.
you. Yeah, it could be something different for somebody else, but you need those things.
Yeah. So what about, maybe, we're kind of in the last quarter now almost of 2016. Is there anything that you're looking to accomplish on a personal level outside of all this business stuff we've been talking about, nonprofit work, that you are looking to do by the end of 2016?
Just really stay in good mental, physical shape. Like I was talking about. 'Cause every year, I try every year, I like doing challenges like, races or these, mud runs, Tough Mudders, things like that.
Oh, you do Tough Mudders?
I've done that, and that's a wonderful event. It's actually very social. It's not just physical, and I've done it with a group of friends. So just to make sure I'm in shape to do that,
right.
And compete with my friends and have a good time.
Do you try to do new challenges every year? Like, I'm going to do a triathlon this year. I'm going to do a marathon. Are you one of those type of people?
No. I've the longest I've run is a half marathon, and I'm kind of tapped out at that. I think I have no desire to do more than that.
Okay.
But I've run Broad Street, I think 4 or 5 years in a row, and I always try and beat my time.
That's great.
And I have to say, I did it last year, thanks to my daughter. I ran with her, and she's an athlete. So running with her helps me beat my time. I just have to keep up with her.
Did you do it this past May where it was pouring rain?
I did.
Yeah. How was that?
It was cold and rainy, but you know what? When you do an event like that, I always say it makes a great story.
Yeah.
Because I ran a half marathon in the freezing cold rain, and it was miserable. But it's a great story to tell afterwards.
Sure.
And again, I ran it with my daughter, which is always a pleasure.
Is she a runner also? Or?
No, but she's an athlete.
Okay.
And then I'm excited because my son is signed up to do Tough Mudder with me next spring. So I'm really excited to do that as well. It's a great thing to do together as a family, and they're both in much better shape than I am. So
that sounds
nice
like a great family activity.
Yeah.
And you set a goal for yourself, and I'm sure you feel really accomplished.
Yeah,
Again, looking at something tangible, right? So
exactly.
You beat your time, you finish this amazing, race, and that's great.
It's fun.
Yeah. So what about, I know we've talked a lot during this interview about staying connected and networking. Are there specific organizations that you're involved in, events or organizations from a networking perspective that you would recommend to others?
Well, if you're in my field, a really good one in Philadelphia is called PACDC, Philadelphia Association of Community Development Corporations.
Okay.
That's a trade organization, so it's not necessarily a networking organization.
It's an industry.
It's an industry, right.
Yeah.
But they have networking events. That's just a great place to be.
Okay.
Another one that sort of comes around less frequently, there's a group called the Economy League of Greater Philadelphia, and every year they have a conference called the Greater Philadelphia Leadership Exchange, and they rotate to different cities. And I went a few years ago to Toronto, and I joked that aside from being an amazing program, it was the best Philadelphia networking I ever did was in Toronto. It was about 150 people from corporations to nonprofits, really the whole gamut. And just, even if I didn't meet people there, I can call someone up now and say, hey, I was in Toronto with you, and they'll pick up the phone and talk to me because we have this bond. It was a fantastic program. So if people have the time and the resources to check out one of their programs, I highly recommend it. And then they have events afterwards where everyone stays in touch. And I've not been as good as I want to in staying in touch with them, but it's always there, and it's a great resource.
You might have already looked into this, but a lot of times with conferences like that, a great way to stay in touch is some closed Facebook groups. Do they have one of those?
That's a great idea. I don't know if they might.
I would check, or maybe even you can ask them to start one if they don't have one, because then at least through social media you can stay connected with people and maybe ask questions and different things that are challenges you're having at your nonprofit. I always love getting feedback from people. It's just sometimes crowdsourcing is the best way to generate ideas, I think.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but I think that's a great thing for people to know about. Because, especially with what you were saying before about getting sponsors and corporate sponsors and things like that, and having all this ability to connect with companies. And, it sounds like a great resource for people.
Yeah, they're all companies who care more than just their bottom line. I mean, they're there because they're engaged in the community in Philadelphia, and they've got some interest in helping people. Yeah.
So, as far as your needs and what you're looking for, volunteers and, donors and things like that, why don't you tell people specifically kind of what your needs are and how to reach out for Dignity Housing if they want to get more involved?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, our website is dignityhousing.org, and you can also call us at 215-713-0960. So, there's always, you can make a donation just to us in general or to the Playground campaign, or if you want to donate items for our families, books, toys, cleaning kits for our families, that's great as well. Again, shop on Amazon Smile and donate to us, or the wish list. And if you want to volunteer, we can arrange small volunteer groups either to work with the kids or work on our properties. And the best way is probably to email us or call us, and we can set up a volunteer activity.
And what would be the email people would use?
You can email me at jungar@dignityhousing.org, and I would pass it on to our fund development manager.
Does that include, people at workplaces that maybe want to do a volunteer activity together? Do you host people like that?
Absolutely, yeah. Before I came, I know Vanguard came and painted one of our properties. So we're always happy to work with corporations. Great. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and doing this interview. And definitely, if you're not familiar with Dignity Housing, please look them up and learn more. Thanks for being here. Thank you.